Hello and welcome back to The Phoenix and the Carpet. We're on chapter 10 now, which is called The Hole in the Carpet. That sounds rather ominous. Hooray, hooray, hooray! Mother comes home today, Jane sang directly after breakfast, and the Phoenix shed tears of sympathy. How beautiful, it said. She won't be home until past bedtime, though, said Robert. We might have one more carpet day. He was glad that Mother was coming home, but at the same time sad, because now they couldn't go out all day on the carpet. I do wish we could go and get something nice for Mother, only she'd want to know where we got it, said Anthea. I'll tell you what, said Robert. Suppose we wish the carpet to take us somewhere we could find a purse with money in it, and then we could buy something. Suppose it took us somewhere foreign and the purse was full of money that wasn't money at all here. Cyril moved the table off the carpet as he spoke, and its leg caught and ripped away a large part of the carpet. Well, now you've done it, said Robert. But Anthea was a really good sister. She didn't say a word until she got out the wool and the needle and the scissors, and then said quite kindly, Never mind, Cyril, I'll soon mend it. Returning to the purse containing coins, the Phoenix said, scratching its invisible ear thoughtfully with its shining claw. It might be as well to state clearly the amount which you wish to find, where you wish to find it, and the type of coins you prefer. Yes, said Jane, and if you find a purse, I suppose it's only because someone has lost it, and then you ought to hand it in to a policeman. The situation, remarked the Phoenix, is full of difficulties. What about buried treasure? Said Cyril. Mother wouldn't believe that, said more than one voice. Suppose, said Robert, suppose we asked to be taken somewhere where we could find a purse and give it back to the person it belonged to, and they would give us something for finding it. We aren't allowed to take money from strangers, said Jane. No, that wouldn't do, said Cyril. Let's go to the North Pole instead, or somewhere really interesting. No, said the girls together, we must find a way. Suddenly Anthea spoke. I see. Let's tell the carpet to take us somewhere where we can get the money for Mother's present and get it some way that she'll believe in and not think wrong. Well, I must say you're learning the way to get the most out of the carpet, said Cyril. Yes, said the Phoenix, you certainly are. And you have to remember that if you take a thing out, it doesn't stay in. No one paid any attention to this remark at the time, but afterwards everyone thought of it. Do hurry up, Anthea, said Robert. And that was why Anthea did hurry up, and why the big darn in the middle of the carpet was all open and webby like a fishing net, not all tight and close like woven cloth. Everyone put on their coats, the Phoenix fluttered onto the mantelpiece and arranged its golden feathers in the glass, and all was ready. Everyone got onto the carpet. Please go slowly, dear carpet, Anthea began. We like to see where we're going. And then she added the difficult wish that they had decided on. Next moment the carpet was sailing over the rooftops of London. It's a pity we aren't higher up, said Anthea as the edge of the carpet grazed a chimney pot. On and on the carpet swept, still keeping much nearer to the chimney pots than the children found at all comfortable. And then a terrible thing happened. Jane and Robert were in the middle of the carpet. Part of them was on the carpet, and part of them, the heaviest part of them, was on the central darn. It's all very misty, said Jane. It looks partly like out of doors and partly like in the nursery at home. I feel exactly the same, said Robert. It's the hole, said the Phoenix. And at that moment both Robert and Jane suddenly made a bound to try and get onto the safe part of the carpet. The darn gave way and their boots went up, and the heavy heads and bodies of them went down through the hole, and they landed on the roof of a high, grey, gloomy house. The carpet rose high in the air. The others lay flat and peeped over the edge of the carpet. Are you hurt? Cried Cyril, and Robert shouted no. And the next moment the carpet had sped away, and Jane and Robert were hidden from the sight of them. Oh, how awful, said Anthea. It might have been worse, said the Phoenix. What if that darn had given way when we were crossing the river? Yes, there's that, said Cyril. They'll be all right. They'll shout until someone gets them down. Then they can go home. But Anthea wouldn't be comforted. It's all my fault, she said. I knew the proper way to darn and I didn't do it. It's all my fault. Let's go home, patch up the carpet and send it to fetch them. "All right," said Cyril. "We must chuck Mother's present, that's all. I wish—" "Stop!" cried the Phoenix. "The carpet is dropping to earth," and indeed it was. It sank steadily and landed on the pavement. Cyril and Anthea walked off it, and in an instant it had rolled itself up and hidden behind a gatepost. It did this so quickly that no one noticed it. The Phoenix rustled its way into the pocket of Cyril's coat, and almost at the same time a well-known voice remarked, "Well, I never! What are you doing here?" They were face to face with their Uncle Reginald. "Well, we did think of going into London," said Cyril, telling as much of the truth as he thought his uncle would believe. "Where are the others?" asked Reginald. "I don't exactly know," said Cyril, this time quite truthfully. "Well," said Uncle Reginald, "I've got to go. I must fly." He felt in his pocket. "Here, share this and enjoy yourselves. Take care." And waving a cheery farewell with his neat umbrella, he left, leaving Cyril and Anthea to exchange glances over the shiny golden sovereign that lay in Cyril's hand. "Well," said Anthea. "Well," said Cyril. "Well, well," said the Phoenix. "Good old carpet," said Cyril joyously. "It was very clever, and so simple," said the Phoenix. "Come on, let's go home and mend the carpet." They unrolled the carpet quickly, and the moment their feet were on the carpet, Anthea wished to be at home, and instantly they were. Anthea set to work at once to draw the edges of the broken darn together, and Cyril went out and bought a large piece of oilcloth, which was the strongest thing he could think of. Then they set to work to line the carpet throughout with the oilcloth. The nursery felt very odd and empty without the others, so Cyril tried to help Anthea, which was good of him, but not much use to her. The Phoenix watched them for a time, but it was plainly growing more and more restless. It fluffed up its splendid feathers and stood first on one claw, then on the other, and at last it said, "I can bear it no longer. My Robert, who set my egg to hatch, in whose jacket I have hidden so often and so pleasantly, I think, if you'll excuse me—" "Yes, do!" cried Anthea. "I wish we'd thought of asking you before." Cyril opened the window. The Phoenix flapped its sun-bright wings and vanished. Of course, I want to know what happened to Jane and Robert after they fell through the carpet of the roof. Jane's first act was tears. "Dry up, Jane," said her brother kindly. "It'll be all right." Then he looked about for something to throw down to attract the attention of the people far below in the street. He couldn't find anything, but he found a trapdoor leading down into the house, and that trapdoor was not locked. "Come here, Jane," he cried. "Lend a hand to heave this up. If we can get into the house, we might sneak down without meeting anyone with luck. Come on." They heaved up the door until it stood straight up, and as they bent to look into the hole below, the door fell back with a hollow clang on the roof behind, and with its noise was a scream from underneath. "Discovered!" hissed Robert. They were indeed discovered. They found themselves looking down into an attic which had boxes and broken chairs all over it. In the middle of the floor was a box, open, half full of clothes. The other clothes lay on the floor in neat piles. In the middle of the pile of clothes sat a lady with her feet sticking out straight in front of her, and it was she who had screamed, and who, in fact, was still screaming. "Don't!" cried Jane. "Please don't! We won't hurt you." "Where's the rest of your gang?" asked the lady, stopping in the middle of a scream. "The others have gone on the wishing carpet," said Jane truthfully. "The wishing carpet?" said the lady. "Yes," said Jane, and before Robert could say "shut up," she said, "You must have read about it. The Phoenix is with them." Then the lady got up, and picking her way carefully between the piles of clothes, she got to the door and went through it. She shut it behind her, and the two children could hear her calling, "Septimus! Septimus!" in a loud but frightened way. "Now," said Robert, "I'll drop first." He hung by his hands and dropped through the trap-door. "Now you, hang by your hands, I'll catch you." Jane dropped. Robert tried to catch her, and he whispered, as they all fell into the clothes, "We'll hide behind those things. They'll think we've gone along the roofs. Then, when all is calm, we'll creep down the stairs and take our chance." They hastily hid. When the lady came back, not with Septimus, but with another lady, they held their breath. "Gone!" said the first lady. "Poor little things, quite mad they were. We must lock this room and send for the police." "Let me look out," said the second lady. So the two ladies dragged boxes under the trapdoor, and then they both climbed up very carefully and put their two heads out of the trapdoor to look for the mad children. "Now," whispered Robert. They managed to creep out from their hiding place and out through the door before the two ladies saw. Robert and Jane tiptoed down the stairs. Then they looked over the banister. A servant was coming up. The children crept swiftly through the first open door. The room was a study, with rows of books, a writing table, and a pair of slippers warming themselves by the fire. The children hid behind the curtains, passing an empty collection box on the table. "Oh, how awful," whispered Jane. "We will never get away alive." "Shh," said Robert, not a moment too soon, for there were steps on the stairs, and the next instant the two ladies came into the room. They didn't see the children, but they saw the empty collection box. "I knew it," said one. "Selina, it was a gang. I was certain of it from the first. The children were not mad. They were sent to distract our attention while their friends robbed the house." "I'm afraid you're right," said Selina. "And where are they now?" "Downstairs, no doubt, stealing the silver. I shall go down." "Oh, don't be so heroic," said Selina. "Amelia, we must call the police from the window. Lock the door." Selina, rushing to the window, came face to face with the hidden children and screamed. "Oh, don't," said Jane. "How can you be so unkind? We aren't burglars. We haven't any gang, and we didn't open your collection box. Oh, I wish you wouldn't." But Miss Selina had seized Jane, and Miss Amelia had captured Robert. The children found themselves held fast by strong hands. "We've got you, at any rate," said Miss Amelia. "Selina, your prisoner is smaller than mine. You open the window at once and shout 'Police' as loud as you can." Selina obeyed, but when she'd opened the window, instead of calling police, she called "Septimus," because at that very moment she saw her nephew coming in at the gate. In another minute he had let himself in with his key and had raced up the stairs. As he came into the room, Jane and Robert each uttered a shriek of joy, so loud and so sudden that the ladies leapt with surprise and nearly let them go. "It's our own priest," cried Jane, "from the carpet." "Don't you remember us?" asked Robert. "You married our burglar for us. Don't you remember?" "Septimus," said Amelia, "these abandoned children are members of a burgling gang who are robbing the house. They have already stolen the collection." Father Septimus passed his hand wearily over his brow. "I feel a little faint," he said, running up the stairs so quickly. "No, no, this is not a dream, is it?" "Dream? No, indeed. Search the house," said Selina. "I insist upon it." The priest, still pale and trembling, searched the house, which of course was empty of burglars. When he came back, he sank wearily into his chair. "Aren't you going to let us go?" asked Robert. "We've never done anything to you. It's all the carpet. It dropped us on the roof. We couldn't help it. You know how it carried you over to the island, and you had to marry the burglar to the cook." "Oh, my head," said the priest. "Never mind your head just now," said Robert. "Try to be honourable and do your duty." "Send for the police!" "Send for the police!" said Miss Selina. "Send for a doctor," said the curate. "Do you think they are mad, then?" said Miss Amelia. "I think I am," said the priest. "Aunt Selina," said the priest, "and Aunt Amelia, believe me, this is only a mad dream. You will realise it soon. It has happened to me before. Do not hold the children. They have done no harm. I opened the box." The strong hands loosened their grasp. Robert shook himself and stood in a sulk, but Jane ran to the priest and hugged him suddenly. "You are a dear," she said. "It is like a dream at first, but you'll get used to it. Now do let us go. There's a good, kind, honourable priest." "I don't know," said Father Septimus. And all the priest could say after that was, "Oh, my head." And Jane and Robert felt quite ill with hopelessness. And then two children felt that extraordinary shrinking feeling, and the next moment they had vanished, and Father Septimus was left alone with his aunts. "I knew it was a dream!" he cried wildly. Of course you know what had happened. The clever phoenix had gone straight off to the Samed and had wished Robert and Jane home, and of course they were home at once. Cyril and Anthea hadn't half finished mending the carpet. When the joyful reunion had calmed down a little, they all went out and spent what was left of Uncle Reginald's sovereign in presents for Mother. They bought her a pink silk handkerchief, a pair of blue and white vases, a bottle of scent, a packet of candles, and a cake with icing on, and the rest of the money they spent on flowers to put in the vases. When they had arranged all the things on a table, with the candles stuck up on a plate ready to light the moment Mother's cab was heard, they washed themselves thoroughly and put on tidier clothes. Then Robert said, "Good old Samed," and the others said so too. "But really it's just as much good old Phoenix," said Robert. "Suppose it hadn't thought of getting the wish?" "Ah," said the Phoenix, "it's lucky for you that I am such a clever bird." "There's Mother's cab," cried Anthea, and the Phoenix hid, and they lit the candles, and the next moment Mother was home again. She liked her presents very much, and found their story of Uncle Reginald and the sovereign easy to believe. "Good old carpet," were Cyril's last sleepy words. "What there is of it," said the Phoenix from the corner. And that's how that chapter ends. See you tomorrow. Bye.